All right. Here are some tips about how to make your dreams come true. Success comes to those who prepare. Success comes to those who prepare. This one's from my grandpa. He's dead now, but I remember him, and he was very polite to me. He gave me sex advice when I was, what, probably 20. He said, Spanish people don't talk about sex to their kids. That was one. Then he told me another one when I was probably 25 or 26. He said, I use condoms. That's what he said. I use condoms. Then he gave me another one. Cada cosa para lo que es. Each thing, use it for what it was built for. So, yeah, on 3 separate occasions he talked to me about sex. What do I think about society? I heard that the Japanese, at 14 years old, you're considered an adult. And I believe that 14 is all right, but 12 would be just as fine. Because we're babying our kids, and one of the things I don't like doing is babying. As far as, what is babying? Well, I know that foster children have gone through tough situations. However, insisting that foster parents have to have a room for each child that they want to foster or adopt, I think that's too much. But then again, you can't have them in the living room, can you? But I would. I was like, oh, okay, you 3 girls? All right, you get that 1 room. And you 2 boys? All right, you have the other room. But then I don't know if if you adopt them, you could adopt. But foster parents, sometimes you have no kids, sometimes you have 10 kids, depending on if you have space and things like that. We didn't qualify because we never got around to filling out the paperwork. I mean, they expected me to do it, and I had to chase around the spouse all over the place. Come on, fill this out, fill this out. And I'm like, she's the one that has the kid in Honduras that wants to adopt, you know. And I'm like, it would have been just easier if we would have taken $100,000, go over there, get some chickens, and be there. But she said, no, they're going to kidnap our kids. They're white, you know, which is true. We stand out. We stick out, rather. But I was going to tell her, no, I'm going to be in the boondocks, you know, with cows, and I'm not going to go to the city. For what? I have my own swimming pool. Oh, man. With $100,000 in the Philippines, my Filipino co-worker, he told me, Daniel, you could have a different housekeeper every single day. I mean, you could just maybe even have 5 housekeepers, not just 1 housekeeper, just have them all, you know, 1 to cook, 1 to wash clothes, 1 to take care of the kids, and then the afternoon shift, that's 3 different housekeepers or something. With that much money, in a nice house. Yeah, I would have gone to the Philippines, but the spouse had that child over there, and he's still over there in Honduras. How do we get him here? The paperwork is intense. And then another lady told us, well, she ran away from home when she was a kid, and I met her when she was 70, and she said that she was from Argentina, and she left town. She got on the bus, left town, and for 20 years, her mother knew nothing about her. She thought, I don't know anything about my daughter. And then finally, this 70-year-old lady, she told me that when she was 25 or so, she took a bus, went to see her mother, and hugged her, and then she went back to her life in the city. And her life in the city was, she was adopted by another woman, but she couldn't be adopted. She said, no, this child belongs to her mother. But she told them, I forgot what story she told them, but the reason this little girl, she was only 6 or 5 when she ran away onto the bus and everything, she said that she heard someone say that there was not enough food for the children. And so she got on the bus and left her own mother for 20 years, then came back about 20 years later. She remembered how to get on the bus and all that, and she walked into the house and everything. I mean, she knocked on the door and knew which house. And her mother just cried. She didn't mention her dad. She didn't mention her sisters or brothers. I mean, some people have gone through some sad stories, way worse. Another old lady, she told me how if we all gathered around on the earth and we had a fireplace, we were all like facing each other in a circle, and we could grab our problem from our back and throw it on the floor. When we would see the other problems that other people have, we would pick up our own problem. We wouldn't want to trade it. So what is my problem? I'm a dad that doesn't work, that's all. Deadbeat dad is the term? But I don't think so. I do something here. I mean, the reason my mother lives with us is because, I messed up her credit when I was going to college. She signed the PLUS loan, and the other day the government started taking it out of her government check, the check that she gets. So she's $300, I think. They take it out of her account right away. The student loans, right? And so at the moment, I didn't know what they were. I thought that maybe she had gone to school or something. And I told her, Mom, why don't you finish your college education? And she blew up. She says, this is your student loan that I'm paying. I'm like, oh, that was so long ago, I forgot about it. And she's like, but you see, sometimes you want to help your kids out. However, you don't know how to do it. And if you buy them everything, then they cannot live without you. My dad, I think he lived off his mother, who's also dead recently. Well, maybe 10 years now. But my dad used to live off his mother. She used to send them money. And at the same time, he would marry women that had an education or a building, like he said, or something. He wrote to me once, he said that there's a problem with men and women. And the problem is that men are polygamous and women are monogamous. I think that's what he said. He wrote it down. I used to keep his letters. I might still have one or two. So, take care of yourself. Cheer up. Life does get better. One day, I will be a strong man, and if I don't make it, then my son will be a strong man. I predict that he will be strong. Like, I've met some strong men. I mentioned in another video. Let's see. 2 of them live alone. But the third one, he's always working. He's only home with the kids on Sundays. And yes, he has a spouse. He has 3 kids. But, I don't want to be like that. Just home on Sundays. I mean, he's home every day. But what? Coming home at 8 o'clock when the kids go to sleep at 9 o'clock or something, or maybe they go, that's not my lifestyle. Yeah, in 3 days, I think he does 45 hours or something. And who else? The other one, he's strong, but he's also divorced. He's single right now. He lost custody of his kids, but he's a strong man because he works also. Something exaggerated, like 4 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, and things like that. The other one over there, he visits his children. You see, he doesn't even live with them because I've noticed men live alone. Men live alone if they want to be strong. For instance, pork. I don't eat it. And what? Nobody here obeys me. I said, no pepperoni. No, they buy pizza with pepperoni. I mean, no sodas. They buy sodas. I'm like, you want me to go to work? There's no money for cashews. I like nuts. I'm like a squirrel. There's no money for cashews, right? Pecans and all of these things. But you have money for Doritos and Coca-Colas and things that I don't eat. Right? And then you tell me not to eat the kids' cornflakes or cereals. Right? But I grew up with a mother that used to say to me, this is the last piece of meat. You eat it. I will not eat. Or this is the last piece of bread or something. This is the last piece of food. I mean, that's, I would say, child abuse. Mental child abuse. And so I used to eat it, but then I felt guilty because, my mother didn't have anything to eat. And then other parents, they've said, you don't tell your kids those things. You don't tell your kids those things, right? And what it is, I'm not lazy. I'm frustrated. I see those pictures about kids in, like the Auschwitz. The Jews in Auschwitz and Nazis extinguishing them and their skinny skeletons and things. And then I see the African kids or the Chinese kids and in other parts of the world that they don't have parents because whatever reason, wars, and they don't have food. I'm like, when I see those, you saw the picture of the little boy that's maybe 3 years old, 4 years old, and he's dying, and the buitre, the black bird that eats dead animals, is waiting to eat them. And so I heard that the guy that took the photo, the photographer, I think he committed suicide. So I'd like to change the world, and that's why I am an idealist. For instance, I believe that if you're 10 to about 16, you could be a soldier. Perfect. Somebody's got to go out there and protect something. Not for oil, but for protecting innocent people. Yeah, sometimes you need to. So if you're 10 years old to 16, I think you'll be the best soldier in the world. Now, once you're 16, come back home, have your wife, stay home, work until you're about 25 years old, and then retire. You say, well, Daniel, where do we get the electricity from? Well, didn't Tesla invent something that gives everybody electricity? Electricity. I need electricity. Battery, huh? All right. And if nobody understands the writings of Tesla, I'm sure there's somebody else like Jack Fresco. He mentions that you could cover a volcano. Oh, I don't know how. All right, but I think you cover a volcano and then you get steam, and that's called thermal power or something, and that could power every city in the United States. You know, one volcano. And Niagara Falls, can't that power like the whole United States? I'm talking about using technology, like use technology so that people don't have to work. Who says I need a 3-bedroom house? Give me a 1-room house. Well, yeah, 1 room with a room, and it could have a moving wall, you know, just so that I can have some privacy with the spouse while the kids are sleeping over there, you know. Make it soundproof. This living room is about 30 feet by 20 feet. Maybe I'm way off. I haven't measured it. But this living room is big enough to be divided by two rooms. And then what I'm getting at is that I don't need such a big house. I could have a tiny house. And if the kids, hey, they're 10 years old, go be a soldier for a little while. Go protect some people until you're 16. And you can work at something until you're 26, mechanic, something. And then later on, well, you don't have an electric bill, you don't have a water bill, you don't have what? You don't need a car because the city takes care of the car. I mean, maybe they might have to work until they're age 30, and after they're 30, they retire, they're grandparents and all that, you know. Be a nice world. Enjoy your life.